BIA subcommittee meeting. Sound check one, sound check one. BIA subcommittee meeting. BIA subcommittee meeting, sound check two, sound check two. Now live.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I will now commence a roll call. Please indicate your presence when I call your name. I believe Councillor Huang will be a little bit late. Councillor Pauls, here yet. Councillor Maureen Wilson. Don't see. Tracy from Westdale.
Here in Stony Creek and
Stony Creek and Lock. Susan from Waterdown.
I'm here.
Heather from Ancaster.
Here.
Assuming Bettina's not here. David from Dundas. See David.
David and Doris sent regrets, sorry.
Okay. Nadine from Barton.
Here.
Emily from downtown.
Here.
Stephanie from Ottawa Street.
Here.
Okay, great. As we have quorum present, I would like to call this meeting of the Business Improvement Area Subcommittee to order at 10:30 a.m. Please reminded that all electronic devices are to be switched to a non-audible function during committee meetings. On to approval of the agenda. May I have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda as presented? Moved by Heather, seconded by Stephanie. Are there any amendments from the committee members to the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried, the motion is carried. Now we are on to declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, let's move on. Approval of the minutes from the previous meetings. 5.1 is December 10th, 2024. So may I have a mover and seconder to adopt the minutes of the December 10th, and January 21st, 2025, as we had no quorum meetings as presented. Moved by Emily, seconded by Susan. All in favor? Carried. The motion is carried. Okay, on to items for information. We will address the items for information and receive them all together at the end. For staff providing presentations today, please remember that presentations are now limited to 10 minutes. 7.1 presentations from the January 21st, 2025 Business Improvement Area Committee. 7.1A Special Events Advisory Team Review. 7.1B Review of on-street parking rates and hours for 2025. 7.1C 2024 Business Improvement Area Audits. Are there any questions on any of the presentations from January 21st, 2025? Okay, seeing none. Let's see here. Okay, is that all we needed for that one, clerk?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. So moving on to 7.2, engaging with your business improvement area. Blaze 4G project coordinator, public engagement, and Jocelyn Strutt, senior project team or manager, public engagement, are here to present on engaging with your business improvement area. Please begin your presentation.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. We're really excited to be here and to be talking about public engagement and what that could mean for supporting the BIA work that is taking place in Hamilton. So my name is Jocelyn Strutt. I am the Senior Project Manager for Public Engagement, and joining me is Blaze Forgy. He's our Public Engagement Coordinator. And our team is responsible for implementing the city's new public engagement policy, which focuses on delivering meaningful city-led public engagement across the city. And we support staff that are bringing forward city-led projects by providing strategic advice and planning for and implementing an effective engagement plan, as well as how we can communicate back to the participants. In 2024 alone, Blaze and I provided strategic advice to 117 city-led projects, and we launched our first public engagement library with over 110 items and close to 100 requests And the whole purpose behind that is to help reduce barriers to delivering meaningful public engagement, both on the staff side as well as the community side. So I'll turn it over to Blaise.
Thank you, Jocelyn. So we know we have some limited time here today, but really wanted to focus on or give the BIA subcommittee an idea of kind of what is public engagement and what are the opportunities to leverage it within your work. So what is public engagement? Public engagement can occur in many different places and can take many different forms. As you can see here on screen, this is a lot of our past summertime engagement, where engagement can occur in coffee shops, on streets, in parks, and in community centers, etc. It can look like gathering together over a cup of coffee, participating in conversation together, sharing ideas, or even just having a casual conversation during a walk through the neighborhood. It can be fun. It can be, it is for everyone, and it is an important process in city building. Now, by definition, when we talk about meaningful public engagement here at the City of Hamilton, we're talking about a process that we follow of involving community and discussion to shape a city decision. So that can be anywhere from building a new park or renewing a park space or development of a strategy focused on, say, community safety and well-being. When we talk about public engagement, we often like to talk about two key components of engagement, which number one is when you have the opportunity to be heard. So when you have an opportunity to share your voice and to become a part of the conversation, that's one. But number two, and we need both of these together to create meaningful engagement, is that you are listened to and that your feedback is understood, leading to you directly shaping the outcome of that decision that's being made. So you have the opportunity to be heard, but then you also know at the end of the engagement process where your feedback went and how it was used in the decision making of a project. Really important to note that all public engagement informs a decision, and without a decision to be made, there is no engagement, or there's no public engagement. And then, so when we, in public engagement planning, we often it's helpful for us to understand what surrounds our engagement in our work. In this case, it's the BIAs. So we're very familiar, and both Jocelyn and I love to engage within our BIAs, but we know that our BIAs interact with the public, so they interact with residents. They are situated within neighborhoods where people live, also where people work and play, and they reflect the diversity and vibrancy of Hamilton. So when we walk down our BIAs and we have that experience in our BIAs, they really are reflecting the folks who have their businesses within the BIAs, but also those who experience it as well. And then further to planning for public engagement, we like to explore many different types of questions to ensure that we are designing engagement that is both meaningful for our project, but also for those who are participating in it. So we often like to talk about, or we start with kind of what are the types of decisions that we're making. And I'm just going to head to the next slide quickly here. Kind of thinking of our BIAs. Some of those examples could be making decisions around streetscapes and what those beautification projects look like. It could be around parking or transit or connectivity to our BIAs. Could include community events and programming. We know that many of our BIAs run some pretty great events to attract folks to our BIA districts. Could also include wayfinding or overall customer or consumer experience and attraction to our BIAs. And then we also like to talk about who is impacted by the decision. So if we're making a decision in public engagement, we like to think of who is dependent on the decision that we're making. So in this case, when we talk about BIAs, it could include businesses, business staff, property owners, residents, customers and visitors, or community groups. And just to have the general understanding that the decision that we're making in the project that we're working in can impact many distinct groups at the same time, but also in different ways. And then the third, is there a decision to be made? So this is the question that we usually start with. If yes, then there is opportunity to engage the public and community. If no, then perhaps it isn't the right time for engagement, but perhaps an opportunity for us to communicate or bring awareness to the work that's happening. Ultimately, it is about understanding where can public engagement guide our priorities. So as, growing, thriving BIAs, with your boards and with, community surrounding you, really having that understanding of, what are the opportunities to include community public voice in your work. And what that looks like. And so now Jocelyn is going to take us a bit further through what our approach to engagement looks like in Hamilton.
Awesome. Thanks, Blaise. I think Blaise actually covered most of this, but what we want to recognize is that BIAs contribute to the vibrancy of our many communities in Hamilton, from the range of businesses and services and tenants. They each, in their own unique way, contribute to our local economy and act as a draw for both residents and visitors. So what might engagement look like when we have this wealth of community surrounding us? And so that looks like, how can we leverage some opportunities around issues around beautification or placemaking, and engage the community in aspects of those where they can influence a decision or help inform one. Next slide. So what does our engagement planning look like? Blaise and I like to say it's easy as 1, 2, 3. It's not always, but it helps frame what's important for engaging. So at the outset, we want to focus on design, clearly define what the scope of the community influence would be, and also identify what's out of scope. So those non-negotiable aspects where we can inform folks about the work, but they're not really going to be involved in contributing to or influencing that work per se. It's also important to understand the context of the community, understanding what's happening in and around the area that may influence or affect the work or the project, what the background is. Have we done this type of work before? Was it successful? Was it not? And why? And once we've defined those aspects, we can start to plan on how to most effectively engage the community, our neighbors, businesses, and put our plan into action. So during the engagement phase, we want to be flexible, we want to be responsive, and we want to be able to adapt to any emerging needs or issues that may be arising. And we also want to offer multiple methods or activities that may be better suited to some of the audiences that we've identified at the outset. Examples might be, how can we encourage youth to participate? What does it mean for newcomers to contribute? Or what does it mean to increase accessible spaces and places? And then our final step is to report back. And this one is a really important component. We've heard this time again from community that when they participate, they don't really know how their information is being used or how it's reflected in the recommendations. And so we want to be very intentional around closing the loop and informing participants how their input was used and what the next steps in the project are. Next slide. So we do say that engagement can be as easy as 1, 2, 3, but there are some inherent complexities. To define the why of engagement, we recognize that there is the rational aim, that reason why we're coming out and asking specific questions. And we have that opportunity to engage community who want to provide their feedback and input. But the other really important aspect is, how does it feel? What is the experience that participants will have when they come to an engagement event? Things like, is it safe? Is it welcoming? Is it an inclusive meeting? And when we understand our audiences by identifying folks who would be impacted by these decisions, we can create better experiences for our participants. And the end result would be better informed decision making. And then finally, us. We're here. So there is no magic wand, no set approach to planning for engagement. Our team is trained in different engagement practices to be able to provide a tailored approach to engagement opportunities that both meet the needs of the project, but also identifying how we can reduce barriers to meaningful participation and how we can bring specific audiences into the conversation based on how they're impacted and what their level of influence may have been or may not have been in the past. Blaise, did you want to add anything?
No, just thank you very much for, this is probably the quickest version of this content that we've ever shared, but looking forward to working with anyone who's interested in planning for some public engagement and looking forward to taking the conversation offline if so. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Blaise or Jocelyn? Anybody? No. I will pass the chair to Susan. So I guess my question would be, I guess it's hard for me to know like what you're looking for engagement on, because there's lots of things that the BIAs would love to have more feedback into before things happen. How do we know what those topics of conversation look like or where they're coming from? Because if, say for instance, the city's planning to switch out, like they did recently, bike racks, well, we don't usually find out until they're done. So how do we get ahead of it so that the engagement part is taking place? That's part one. And then part two would be, I would highly encourage the city to use the BIAs as tools for engagement, especially the executive directors. We have firsthand knowledge of what's happening in our communities. And a lot of times it feels like we're left out of those conversations that are very impactful to our areas. When I met with the city manager last year, that was one of the main topics that I brought up, was just treating us a little bit more like we're an extension of the city in the decision-making process, as opposed to somebody that's just coming at it from the public. We should be wrapped into those decisions. So just to flag that with you, if there is any big decisions coming down, I think it's very important that the BIAs have some input into those. And I think in the past, it has sometimes felt that hasn't been the case. So moving forward, it'd be great if we could be used as sort of the forefront. So sorry, I'll park that there and let you answer my first question, I guess.
So it's a great question. I guess part of the difficulty is around understanding what projects are coming forward, where they're located, and if those project leads are able to connect with us. So we don't, unfortunately, we aren't kind of the engagement police, but when we do have projects that come to us, we can start to identify where those opportunities exist and what it would mean to both bring in the BIAs at the outset, both in terms of defining and identifying what the needs are and contributing to designing that engagement, recognizing that, you know, the folks in and around your BIA, you know them best, and how we might be able to reach them or some specific considerations is really important. So I think maybe the opportunity on our end is to work with Christina in economic development and be able to maybe see where there's opportunities for projects that are coming forward, where we can meet with them, and then start to bring in the specific BIA representatives for those discussions.
Yeah, that would be great. I think one of the things that we're experiencing is an inflation of surveys going out to our members and things like that, which is they're not paying attention anymore. There's too many of that. So I would just recommend, like, the old way, in my opinion, and I don't know if this is for across the city, I can only speak for my BA, is the old way of sort of bringing people together for that doesn't happen anymore. I think it has to be filtered through the BIA executive directors, because we're the ones out there talking to them. We know what they're going to say regardless. So just to put that as a high level note, I think we have to look at things a little bit differently. And then also just to know, we all have newsletters for the most part. So if there is information you did want us to disseminate as just as like a, looking for feedback, but maybe not in like a survey point of view, that would be great. And we could disseminate that information out for you.
That's amazing. So thank you for that. And we feel the same way about surveys. I think it's viewed as an easier way to have feedback provided without really fully understanding that if we're not engaging in the right way, we're not going to get that feedback. So Blaise and I look at those different opportunities, either to increase the use of multiple tools to engage, or what does it mean to have that in-person connection at the same time as maybe having some sort of online presence as well.
Okay, great.
So thank you.
I'll take the chair back from Susan, and I see Nadine has some comments or questions.
Yeah, unmute myself first. Thank you for the presentation. I know that we've had some interaction in Barton Village with the streetscape project. If we become aware of a project, to Susie's point, we're often part of the way through the process, or funds have been committed, or there's already planning in place. But if we become aware of a project that we would like to engage our communities, what's the best way for us to go about reaching out to you to find out if that team is already working with you, or what's the best way for us to move forward with that? And my second question is around the lending library. Can you share, I've had a look at the Engage Hamilton website. I don't see anything there. Can you share what sorts of items are a part of that library and who has access to them?
For sure. So maybe I'll tackle the first part of that, Blaise, and then you can talk to what the library is and what it can offer. In terms of communication, certainly Blaise and I are always available. If there's a question, we're happy to look into it. I guess maybe I'm not as familiar with how that communication happens through Christina. So if there's an opportunity for us to either, centralize or have a conduit for that, we'll look at it. But in the interim, also reaching out to either Blaise or myself, we're happy to have those conversations and see what might be going on or where there's opportunities.
Okay, thank you.
And with regards to the lending library, it is certainly one of the most busiest places that I know of in this building. It launched last year and really is a corporate-wide, citywide resource, also available to the BIAs if you are running the lending library takes priority for public engagement events. So if you are leading an engagement event where you are looking to seek feedback from community, the resources are available to you and there's no cost to loan them. And as Jocelyn mentioned, there's over 110 items in the library, ranging from we have data-enabled iPads to event tents, Engage Hamilton branded materials and equipment. We also have a lot of like age-friendly materials in there, from playing cards to Play-Doh to crayons, markers, paper, all of that kind of thing, to be able to engage a wide variety of audiences in our community. The items in the library have been specifically tailored to ensure an increase in accessibility to engagement. So offering the opportunity to participate in an engagement space through play, through digital components, if there is a survey or if there are tools that are being used for a project that you're working on Engage Hamilton, there's opportunities to decrease some of those barriers there. But then also we have a language translation device. We have some books in there. We have a whole wide range of things. And so after this conversation, we'll share that information through Christina to be able to share, so that you can take a look at what's available. And then at any time, if you are looking to use it, you just fill out that form and then we'll be in touch.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions or discussions? Okay, thank you to both of you. We'll move on to 7.3, Common House Cafe. This item was referred to the BIA subcommittee by council for information. Kristen Hugenboss, Coordinator, Small Business Enterprise Center, is here to answer any questions on that report. Is Kristen here?
Hi,
Yes,
Susie.
she is.
I'm
Hi.
here.
So there's no report, there's no presentation. The report was originally presented to the Open for Business subcommittee on October 21st. Nadine, you sit on that committee, don't you? Did you have anything you wanted to comment on?
No, I mean, the presentation was great. I think we've all become familiar with what this project is, and I don't want to overstep Kristen here to speak about it, but it's yeah, I think we're excited about it. We're excited about the opportunity. I'm not sure. I think it's good awareness for the BIAs, for anybody that's reaching out, looking at food-based businesses. I think a point of contact for us is always to ensure connection with the business center. So I think this is just another opportunity that they're providing. That sounds really great. And yeah, I don't have any specific questions or comments that I don't think have already been answered, but if anybody else has anything, I'm sure Kristen would be happy to speak to it.
Okay, are there any questions or discussions for Kristen? I'm sure if we all go back and have a closer look at it, Kristen, are we able to reach out to you directly for that?
Of course. Really thankful to have the opportunity that it did go to Open for Business, and very thankful proactively we can be here. And I know it was great. Christina got some information out to everybody regarding our next call for applications. So it's a really exciting time for Hamilton, and I'm excited that everybody here is engaged in this process up front, and we have the opportunity to work together on this really amazing opportunity for Hamilton. It's kind of the first of its kind in Ontario, and really excited that we can kind of extenuate and kind of extend our relationships with you and support the businesses that come in through the Common House Cafe, where we really have an incubation opportunity here within our footprint at City Hall, and the opportunity to collaborate and graduate those businesses into our community. And that's where, again, we look to extend our partnership with all of you to, again, make sure that we support these businesses here in Hamilton. So really exciting opportunity, and thankful that we can be part of this upfront and at the beginning of the process, and excited to see where the program goes in the year ahead. Any questions, we're here to support you.
Okay, great. Any questions or discussions? Okay, seeing none. May I have a mover and seconder to receive items 7.1 to 7.3? Moved by Susan, seconded by Nadine. Please indicate your vote. All in favor? Carried. The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, presenters. Now we're moving on to 11.1, general information, and other business items from the January 21st, 2025 BIA subcommittee meeting. 11.1A, updates for business development office. 11.1B, statements by members. May I have a mover and seconder to receive items 11.1A and B. Moved by Susan, seconded by Emily. All in favor? Okay, the motion is carried. Now we move on to 11.2, updates from Business Development Office. Christina is here to give us an update for the committee. Christina, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Just have a couple of quick updates for the team today. So the BIA Awards of Excellence are just a reminder, scheduled for March 26th. If you have not purchased tickets already, please, I would ask that everyone go to the chamber and purchase their tickets. We really need to get a sense of final numbers. I will do my best to try and have some tables reserved so everyone is sitting all together when we go over to the chamber awards, but we need final numbers for that. So if you can get that done, that would be great. And as well, if you have heard back from your winners, if they're attending, if you could please let me know to help me with with those final count numbers, that would be fantastic. I am working on the BIA annual report for 2025. Just to give everyone a heads up, it's probably going to be a light version of the first year of 2024. So if there are any existing policies that have been shared with the city that have not changed, then those obviously will not have to be provided again. But if there are new policies, like for example, the legal disclaimer, if your BIA so chooses to adopt it, that would be included in, as well as any things that are changed on an annual basis. So I will be cleaning that up. I will be sending that out before the end of the week for everyone. So you just have it. And again, as with last year, you don't have to wait until December 30th to start uploading that stuff. If you have information that you can start uploading into your sync folder, please go ahead and do that. I think it'll just make it a lot easier. Because I know the end of the year is a crunch time for everybody. And then finally, I did share with everybody, but just reiterating again, Economic Development has created a trade and tariff resource hub that is available not just for the BIAs, but broadly across Hamilton. So that's available on investinhamilton.ca/tariffs. That is a living website, so a living page on the City of Hamilton's website. So as more information becomes available, obviously this is a very dynamic and changes moment to moment situation, that will all continue to be uploaded on this tariff page that hopefully will be a helpful resource as we navigate through these next, hopefully not so tumultuous times, but we'll see what happens. That's all I have.
Okay, are there any questions for Christina? Susan?
Sorry, my mouse is being charged and I couldn't get myself off on mute. Christina, two things. I didn't think I'd received the email yet. Don't we usually have to have a code when we buy those tickets on the Hamilton Chamber website?
It is. I did send it out in an email, but I can re-forward it to you. I think it's BIA 2025, and I can't remember what it is, but I'll resend it out.
Okay, first of all, thank you. And then the other thing is that I know we tried to address this last year. When we are going to that event, my preference is that we are sitting with our winners. I know that there have been years when we've all been sitting together as the BIAs, but you know, when I have one or two people from a business that don't know anybody else at that event, and we feel like we're kind of hosting them to bring them together, my preference, and this year we will have probably like 8 people and 1 or 2 random businesses that are participating in that event that are from the Waterdown area that would like to sit with us. So that's just our preference.
So, so what we do is at the chamber dinner, there are tables of 10. We reserve a block of tables. So hypothetically, if I am anticipating 50 people will be attending, there should be 5 tables. There is no direct seating arrangements. If you guys want to group and sit all of your watered down winners at one table, you can certainly do that. I will clarify with the chamber like what the seating arrangement is, but the BIA tables there is a lot of flexibility in there. So if you want to group all your water down, or any other BIA wants to group all of your winners together, you can certainly do that once you know what the BIA tables are.
Okay, because in prior years, everybody has been on an assigned table.
Yeah,
usually.
Yeah, and I have spoken to Katie Steele from the chamber about that with these concerns. So I'm going to make sure that that's clear, that the block of tables are BIA tables, and how you guys want to group yourselves, that's completely up to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just because to be able to have the seating for it, because there's always last minute people that come in, and to have, I think it's more confusing to have individual places reserved. If we just have the group of tables for the BIAs, you guys can sort yourselves out however you think best, if that makes sense. And if that's amenable to everybody. It's a big word for a Tuesday after a long weekend.
Are there any other questions or discussions for Christina? Okay, seeing none, may I have a mover and seconder to receive the update? Moved by Emily, seconded by Heather. All in favor? Carried.
Sorry, can we just confirm that Stephanie is there? Stephanie, we need you for the vote. Thank you. If you could leave your camera on, that would be great, because we just have quorum.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to 11.4 statements by members. I will start with Tracy for Westdale, Locke, and Stony Creek.
Thank you, Susie. And first, a thanks to Christine and Economic Development for including the BIAs on the Trade and Tariff Resource Hub and creating that Tariff and Resource Hub. Thank you for responding to our request. We appreciate the extra push for support local, especially in the BIA areas. For all 3 BIAs, we are shoveling out like everybody after a crazy weekend, but thankfully it didn't snow on Valentine's Day, so everybody was busy across the city, which was nice. The weather cooperated, and all the places were just doing all the planning for 2025, getting everything lined up, vendors, events, promotions, and it was good to hear the presentations today that we can further use and share. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tracy. On to Susan from Waterdown.
So we are continuing to put forward plans at our board meeting tonight to get some of our key dates and events all locked down. So that continues to be a focus of just getting set up for the spring and into the fall. Couple of business news things. We had an unfortunate situation, which I know other malls and businesses have as well, but we had our local jewelry store, 5 masked men smashed the door with hammers, smashed the display cases on Valentine's Day, which should have been their busiest sales day of the year, and that was around 2:00 in the afternoon, and now they are having to put in basically Fort Knox types of doors to stop that kind of thing from happening. So this is going to, I think, be, the police have put out that this is more and more of the type of thing that we can expect in our BIAs, these smash and grabs, which is very unfortunate. We had a couple of businesses, Brogdon's Restaurants. It's been in our Hamilton Street side for a number of years, and they had their last day of business on Sunday. And word is that a new breakfast chain business will be opening up in that restaurant location. We're still waiting for a couple of businesses, Lizzie Sharma, everything is up. Shawarma, everything is up, but they have not yet opened. And we have a new Circle of Life funeral service business that opened up at 22 Mill Street South in our district. But other than that, that's about it.
Okay, great. And now on to Heather from Ancaster.
So basically in Ancaster, we're just getting organized for the year ahead. So our committees have been having lots of meetings, planning for everything we're going to do for events, marketing, all that type of thing. But we already have our first big event of the year planned. So our Spring Fling scavenger hunt will be happening Saturday, April 12th. So that's exciting. We got the planning ahead for that, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, great. Thank you. On to Nadine from Barton.
Yeah, we just wrapped up Hearts for Barton. We had a goal of selling 2,000 or generating $2,000 worth of donations for that. We're just getting reports in from everybody about how many hearts they've sold, but I'm confident that we have surpassed our goal this year, which is great. In addition to that, we were also selling t-shirts, which are super cute, and thank you, Stephanie, for supporting us and picking one of those up. So that's just wrapping up. Helping Hands has the keys to their new location, and they are in the process of literally walking boxes down the street along not quite so shoveled sidewalks at this point. So lots of folks rallying around to help support them. We saw a massive community turnout to support Pinch over this past weekend. They were really close to shutting their doors. They put a post out on social media to get some support, and the community rallied around them. And they're not going anywhere as a result. Happy to report. In terms of business, I have received word that Nanny and Bulls will be open as of next week. A few minor hiccups. And in minor hiccups, I mean a massive I-beam that needed to be installed, not in their initial plans. But so they'll be open as of next week. Squiggle Studio, I don't have an opening date for them yet. They're a pottery workshop studio that's opening up at Barton and Oak, and a new appliance store that we should see open by the end of the month in what have been vacant storefronts for a considerable amount of time. So I have roughly 4 or 5 800 to 1,000 square foot storefronts, all ready and available for lease in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, seeing some turnover in the storefronts that have been vacant for some amount of time, and super grateful for that. I did have a couple of things that have come up just recently, or have come up recently. One with reference to the incentive programs, and I'm wondering if it's possible if we can either invite Carlo to the BIA subcommittee, or if we can together provide some feedback and documentation. Primarily what I'm hearing is property owners that are either not interested in pursuing the programs because they've had a bad experience going through them. In some cases, waiting upwards of 3 years to see their grant money. I'm having some questions about how we resolve some of these issues, and how the BIAs can play a role in perhaps streamlining these processes to ensure that the incentive programs are a success, and that our property owners are able to truly take advantage of them. And I don't know what the best course of action is for that, I guess. The other thing that came up is with regards to the tax holiday, which is now over, and the impacts of that. I did have a reporter reach out to me with the intention of creating a survey, which we just talked about how well that goes over. But trying to figure out what is the the best way to collect feedback about this tax holiday and the impacts that it has had, both positive and negative. Yeah, so I'll leave it there because that's a lot already.
Okay, thanks, Nadine. On to Emily from downtown.
Yeah, just to kind of follow up on Nadine's comments, would love to look at those incentives as well and get some more info on those. So I think that'd be a great idea for a future meeting as well. Still deep in planning. We have a couple of subcommittees that we're currently recruiting for, events subcommittee and a governance/advocacy subcommittee. We did bring a 6-foot-tall light up love sign to Gore Park for Valentine's Day week, which was really fun. We ran that in conjunction with a giveaway of some gift cards from some great downtown locations. And so that was really nice, just being able to add a little bit of excitement to Gore Park in a cold time of the year for sure. And then we have 2 new openings that are very excited in the same building, Treble Hall on John Street. We have Florista Florals that opened up just in time for Valentine's Day, and Easy Tiger Snack Bar, which is by the same great team behind Farside, is also opening a second location there. So we're very excited. I think Easy Tiger should be up and running. They're aiming for February, so keep your eye on that space. And yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, great. And on to Stephanie from Ottawa Street.
Hey everyone, we are in the thick of event planning with So Hungry coming up in May. We have a post going out Friday for our subcommittee that we're starting for So Hungry. With that, we also are welcoming a new part-time employee. The job posting will also go out on Friday for events and part-time admin. If you know someone, send them our way, please and thank you. In regards to closures, we had Obscura Bazaar close and moved to International Village instead. So enjoy them. I know I have, and I'll be visiting your village to visit them. As well as Lokai Tattoo at 249 Ottawa Street. They have just posted that they're closing. We have a new business opening at 185 Ottawa Street that used to be Annie's Beauty Bar that moved over to 323 Ottawa Street. The new business will be Butterfly Timeless Treasures, a gift shop. So come check them out when they open. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. I will pass the chair to Susan so I can do my update for International Village. We've had 3 new businesses open in the last month. So we have the King Sandwich at 310 King. Like Stephanie said, Obscura Bazaar has moved to our area, and Harrow Tea has opened up as well at 215 King. So nice to see some of those vacant spaces being used up. We just finished running our Valentine's Day giveaway. So we gave away 2 tickets to the theater in partnership with them, as well as $200 in gift certificates to the winner's choice of restaurant in our area. So we saw some really good response to that. We had our first board meeting last week and we approved the programming and marketing plan for the year. So we're definitely on our way. We have some exciting things planned this year. 2 of the biggest events we'll be doing are for Open Streets in collaboration with that. So that will be on June 22nd, and on September 28th, we will be hosting Pride events for both. So very excited to continue that on this year in the village. And aside from that, just busy with the day-to-day stuff. I know the LRT plans are starting to roll out, much to my surprise. So I'll be having to delve into that again. And yeah, just very busy with get everything moving and shaking this year. So I will take the chair back from Susan, and may I have a mover and seconder to receive the statements? Moved by Heather, seconded by Nadine. All in favor? The motion is carried. And there being no further business, the Business Improvement Area Subcommittee is adjourned at 11:18 a.m. So that's it. Have a great day, everybody.